Welcome back to another episode of Hobby Time in the Murder Basement, where today I get to sit down with John from Trapped Under Plastic to talk about his upcoming YouTube channel and just have a general good time. Stick around.
That's the thing about our hobby space, and like it's growing, and just from a gaming aspect, from an artistic aspect, from a global aspect, it's growing, and that means that there's more opportunities and there's more slots that we can all kind of fill in that are open, you know, and we all have our own take, our own kind of desire of what we're really most interested in, and to share that with others. I mean, just go for it, you know, and I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, like, let's just get let's get started on it. I'm gonna try to say it. Let's get into it. I fucking hate let's get into it. So, John, thank you so much for joining me in the murder basement today. I really appreciate you, putting up with my constant weekly emails to see if you would be available. It really means a lot that you can be here.
It makes me sound like I'm some kind of important person that can't fit anything in, and that's truly not the case. But I did bring my own tarp and my own hatchet, so I'm ready for the evening.
All we need is some zip ties, and we're good.
Right? Yeah. Don't leave home.
So, everybody who listens to this show knows who the fuck you are. Like, I can't really give you like a proper introduction. You are, I think for me, one of like the proof positive that all you have to do is put yourself out there, and all of a sudden, like, doors open that you didn't know were there and can take you down roads that you didn't know that you wanted to go down, and really can enrich your life by being bold and by being brave, because you were messaging a one Scott, the miniature maniac, and now here you are, trapped under plastic, Resin Beast winner, starting your own YouTube channel, and a solid voice to the hobby, and whether you like it or not, you're a permanent fixture to this. You are intrinsically tied to the history of miniature painting.
Well, that's scary to say, but I think I'm going to take a splice of that recording. I'm just going to have it on my phone, and whenever I introduce myself to somebody in any capacity in life, I'm just going to play that and be like, hold on, here's me.
Yeah, this is what I've done.
This is me. These aren't my words, so take with it what you will. No, I mean, it's just a weird tale. The weird tale of getting into this hobby at an older age. I'll say that, I'm old. But just jumping in and absorbing everything I could, and not being afraid to reach out to people. You know, and I think that's a similar story to your own, to these series of a great catalog you've already created of these interviews, of being unafraid to just be like, hey, I want to learn about you. I want to talk to you. I want to have a conversation. I have two real people talking about something we both love. And if you're not afraid to do that and just keep your eyes open, who knows where it's going to go.
Sure. So you have actually only been really painting for like 3 years now? Like, you have done it off and on, but you, like, 3 years ago decided, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to put 100 hours into this tiny little guy. Like, I think in the first or second Trapped Under Plastic episode, you and Scott go into those things, and I was like kind of taken aback, because I was like, holy shit, that's kind of like me. Like, I saw this one thing, I wanted to do it, and then I spent the next 1,000 hours trying to figure out how to do it right.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. It was 3 years ago in August. So it'll be 3 years ago next month that I started
Wow.
painting. I bought a couple miniatures for D&D in my teens. I painted one of them with craft paints when I was like 15. I bought a whole GW paint set just out of college and a bunch of confrontation minis. Never painted a single one, never used those paints. So, and then I just started 3 years ago to like the things that I really was saying I was interested in. And I should have just listened to myself throughout the past 25 years of this is something that excites me. Why don't I just do it? And so,
Sure.
you know, the older you get, the more you realize, you know, time is a finite thing, like we were talking about earlier. And if that's naturally where I'm being led, if that's where my passion is taking me, I need to ride the wave and not just try to make excuses.
Right.
You know?
Well, do you think like, I mean, I think right now in the information age, it makes things like miniature painting for, you know, people like us who, you know, feel like we live on the internet. Like, I don't know about you. I mean, even before Corona Zone, like you're just kind of always there. Like YouTube, specifically things, you know, like Vince and Scott and, you know, Tabletop Minions, they've all made, you know, Sam Lins, they've all made the hobby feel really easy. Like all you have to do is do it. Like, what's your problem? Like, I don't think I would have had the courage to try the stuff that I would have without having like so much positive reinforcement the entire step of the way. Like, you know, I started at Kingdom Death, which is the wrong place to start.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if you're gonna get into it, you know, the deep end is where winners, you know, either float to the top or sink to the bottom. You know, there's not many options there.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if I would have done well without people like them like making me feel comfortable in this space. Did you have kind of a similar sort of thing when you were like getting back into it?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. For me, it was Ben Comets and the Painting Buddha videos. And I mean, I've cataloged my kind of obsession over absorbing through those videos. Obviously, Ben Comet's one of the greatest miniature painters of all time, and him teaching how he paints. What it did for me is it broke down all the barriers of lack of confidence because you just don't know where to begin. I don't even know how to even start. I'm just frozen, you know? And that's really when I look back at it, when I invested hundreds of dollars when I was 23 years old to really jump into this and then sit down and realize I don't even know what do I do first?
I don't know how to hold a brush. I don't know how to
am I supposed to do
paint.
something?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, this metal miniature, do I just put paint on it right away? I mean, there's these little things on it. Do I get them off first? You know, it's flash. I know what they're called now. I didn't know then.
Right.
How do I get them off? Oh, I need a little blade to do that. Okay. Like just the absorption of information at the beginner level is so much quicker now. It allows for this hobby, this art form to really transform in such a short period of time. When we're looking back even 10 years ago, like you even go back and look at 2010 Golden Demon winners.
Right.
I mean, I'm telling you, everyone listening to or watching this video, in a month, you commit yourself to it, you can be as good as those guys and gals from 10 years ago. Because the rate has grown exponentially in the last 10 years. And so it's a prime time to, whether you're trying to just, I want to have cool looking minis for my game, or I really want to push this as an art form, you know, you can do it now. You can do it.
Well, it's really interesting when like GW, what was it, last year, maybe the year before, they came up with their new 3 color minimum tournament standard sort of thing, which like GW doing stuff like that's kind of a dick move because they don't do any of that stuff here in the States. You know, like ITC has the rules, which is actually even higher than GW. Like, but it's just funny that GW is like, no, we actually care about how you paint our minis. They're like, they don't care actually how you paint their minis. They just want you to buy as much as you can.
Sure.
And they don't really care if you play it. Like the game is what it is to them, and you know, that's it. Like, but seeing what their new level of, you know, the tabletop minimum, I was like, damn, like they like, yeah, there's 3 colors, but they got actual shading in here. They want you to edge highlight everything. They want you to like actually base the model. I was like, huh, like this is a whole new time where, you know, all my old friend Kennard, who got me into Warhammer, his little Skaven army that he showed me, like, he was like, dude, these are the coolest things ever. And he like basically like put like, the flag is yellow, the rats are brown, the ground is green. You know, like, it's just like, this is it.
Sounds logical to me.
Yeah, I'm putting this much effort into it because I hate doing this.
Yeah.
And he played lots of tournaments that way. And so it's really interesting that like the actual standard, just like, oh, you have to do this much more, like, was a little scary for like new people, I'm sure, but also like to me it kind of excited me because like I love looking at a good painted table of minis, even though I don't own one of my own. I own lots of half painted armies, but you know.
I think you're more the rule than the exception in that. Let's all be honest.
Right.
We want to be there, and you know, we stick with it for enough years. Ideally, we all get there, but it's easier said than done. It's a big commitment.
It's a huge commitment, especially like I love that you and Scott use the term tryhards about yourself. Like, it's like when I heard that the first time, I was like, oh, dude, that's totally me too. I'm totally a tryhard. Like, I want to get as good. I want to get to my like 3rd plateau and then maybe ride that for a while, like, and see if I want to get better. But like, I'm going to put in the effort to get to that point, like as hard and as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah. And that timeline, I mean, there's factors that all weigh into the speed of which you can get there. And for each of us, it's different. But honestly, the overwhelming factor that accounts for hitting that, whatever your goal is, 3rd plateau or whatever, is really commitment, you know, and it's hours spent. I mean, we can all relate to, just in our Facebook group, this in the last couple of days, someone posted a meme of, it's the traditional meme of somebody, it's 3 panels, comic strip of a dude riding a bike. And then, you know, in the 3rd panel, he puts a stick in his own spokes.
Right.
You know, and the first panel is him like, I'm going to be an awesome mini painter, you know, and then the 2nd panel is like, I'm probably screwing this up, but it's like, I'm going to put a bunch of hours in. And then the 3rd panel is, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to buy more minis. And he's just jamming the stick in and he ass over tea kettles it. Like, we can all relate to that, right?
Yeah.
Because we get so many of these hobby adjacent things going on. I'm not going to paint tonight, but I'm going to do some research on this new Kickstarter paint line, or I'm going to figure out a different net list for my models to see, well, I'm not going to start painting them yet because I don't know which ones I'm going to use.
Right.
We all do it. We're not consciously like making excuses for ourselves. But if you were to be like your significant other in the room and you were having that stuff said out loud, they'd be like, I'm calling bullshit on you right now. Like, you need to do the thing. So we're all guilty of not doing the thing as much as we should. So,
but I mean, I think that all of those things, like, those count as hobby hours. Like, you working on your studio counts as hobby hours. Still researching, looking at things, buying new stuff, I think still counts as hobby hours, because I get just as much enjoyment trolling eBay to like try to like snipe out a good deal for the models that I want than I do like painting. Like, sometimes painting just flat out isn't fun. Like today on Twitch, I painted for almost 4 hours, of which I feel like I wasted 4 hours in front of people. I did it in front of people for 4 hours.
I mean, that's a whole nother thing, man. I've done very minimal amount of live stream painting, and I commend you for trying to get anything accomplished in those hours. I can't walk and chew bubble gum, let alone, hey, there she is.
I did this on like stream. It's great. Like it's a good way to keep me like moving in the right direction, man. Like I love talking with people, and if I'm just sitting alone by myself, like
It's
I mean, like I need to sometimes like not talk, but like I get stuck in my head, and then I start looking at it and I'm like, I hate it. And like, dude, Twitch is like, nah, that's great. Or like, what the hell are you doing? Like they'll instantly tell you whether or not you're fucking up, which is
right.
kind of awesome and totally like when you have people like Brent from Goobertown like hanging out in chat and he's telling you it's good, you're like, okay, well it's good. Like
Yeah.
you have like people actually that you know and respect telling you it's good. Like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I commend you for that. And if that's what helps drive you to sit at the desk and put paint on mini, then that's all gravy, man. You know, that's what works. For me, I do a lot of I'm that way too. I'm an extrovert. You and I are both extroverts, right?
Sure.
We need that people interaction, and I get a little fucking squirrely in these COVID times without it.
Dude, it's bad. It's real bad right now.
It's bad. And so what I end up doing is I'm sitting down and painting, and I will throw, my Twitch mini painters on, and it's like I got another friend in the room that's also working on something. I mean, like if I'm knee deep on painting something, I will talk to them with my voice, and they don't hear it. Whatever. But it keeps my brain in the good, positive flow instead of getting down and feeling this isolation, because that can really it can really put a halt on your creative juices. So
Sure.
I think there's a positive interaction both from the streamer and from those of us that are along with you for the ride. I mean, sometimes I'll sit down, I'll put paint on a model for 15 minutes, I'm watching the streamer, and I'm just not feeling it, right? I'm just not feeling it. I'm having a good night with deciding what I want to paint, where I want to go with it. I'll just put the mini down and I'll hang out and chat, and I'll just follow along with them, because then I still feel like I'm involved in the painting process. And usually by the end of the night, I'm ready for the next day to feel refreshed and want to kick it again with that model. The problem I have is when folks are going to not pick up a paintbrush for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it's really hard to jump on and off that bike and keep momentum.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, like, I'm the master of getting to a point where I like with guitar, I got to where I could hit all my rock and roll tricks, and like I didn't ever get better. I never learned sweep arpeggios. I never did all that like super technical stuff. When I played drums, same thing, piano, like all that stuff. I got to a point where I'm like, whenever I pick up this thing, I can feel comfortable with it. And with painting, I got to that point like really fast. Like I got to a point where felt really comfortable around minis. But now that I've like, now I'm like past 2 years into this, and I'm starting to like, sometimes I just don't have the motivation. Being a small business owner, going through COVID, this is like so sometimes just come home and take a nap, and have dinner at 9, and then I fall asleep on the couch because I have a 20-pound cat on me. I just don't have the emotional bandwidth for painting, and so when going into painting a model after having like that big of a break, like it's a little scary. Like I find myself being more intimidated by what's going on, but it's really funny how fast like those like muscle memories come back in, the rock and roll tricks come back in. I'm like, this is how I'm gonna edge highlight this. This is how I'm gonna do this. The problem is I don't feel like I am growing because I'm not putting in the actual effort. Which if I'm rocking this sort of like path, it's not bad. I probably will win a lot of second places, but like getting to that like gold standard, that's the goal where I want to be at. And like right now I just don't know how I'm gonna make it. So like you got to gold standard pre-COVID, but also like out of nowhere. Like was Resin Beast like your first big competition that you entered into?
No, I did the year before. I'd been painting for, I don't know, 6 months at that point. I did Crystal Brush. That was
That's right.
The first time I did. I went to Adepticon, and Scott told me I had to go, and so I went, and I did Crystal Brush that year. And then the next year was the first year they did Resin Beast, and my plan was to do both Crystal Brush and Resin Beast. And here's my, my novice in me is time management and understanding really how long it takes to do this stuff. Like,
right.
I don't know. I mean, the good thing about it painting for a competition, and the good thing was, like, even if you don't consider yourself a strong painter or a competitive painter, why I think entering a painting competition is a really valuable experience is it helps you deal with deadlines. It helps you understand, like, I know when this needs to be done, right? And done is never done. A mini is never 100% done. But to the point where I'm happy with showing this to the public. And you learn about the real timeline it takes to do that. And most times it takes way more time than you think it would.
Yeah.
And especially if you're like me and you just don't have a lot of experience with it, you end up taking 3 times as long to do the same thing as a pro that's been doing it for umpteen years.
Right.
But by the time you're done, every single person that I've talked to at a big competition, every single person that has said this was my first one has said nothing but positive experiences from that.
Sure.
I remember talking to Eenie Meanies at Adepticon the very last day, the Sunday evening. This would have been 2 years ago, the 2019 Adepticon, and she came by and she's like, I saw these are my minis, and I entered, and I'm relatively new, and I learned so much. This event was amazing, and I got awesome feedback, and I'm pumped. Okay, that was March 2019. And if you look at the trajectory of Eenie from that date, I'm not saying that was a reason she has just soared, but I'm saying that there was something in there that I saw in her of a fire that led her to just soar with it and just go.
Sure.
And so I encourage folks to that's a good way to hold yourself accountable. Hey, I'm like everybody else. I procrastinate. I push things off. I am taking a month to edit a stupid YouTube video, and it's going to turn out like crap anyway. But it's like, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. So there's so much to unpack there. It's like, I mean, like, I've been watching Eenie since basically she started. She started a little before me. You started a little bit before me. She did Kingdom Death stuff. I follow the people who did Kingdom Death stuff on Instagram. I had no idea that she was a streamer. I didn't even know that painting and streaming was a thing really until like a couple months ago. I'm like a little embarrassed by it because now that I'm like entrenched in the community, it is cool. It is a cool community of, like, for the most part, really supportive people. The egos, while they may be there, are usually like fairly healthy and supportive egos. Like it's very similar to what happens in the YouTube space. Everybody kind of has their corner that they sit in. And when you meet someone like Eenie, who is so fucking brave, like on every single fucking level, just like trashy Thursdays of writing subscribers' names on her body in a garbage bag while painting. Like she is putting herself out in a way that I am really like, if I wasn't from a punk rock background, I might be a little like uncomfortable with, because it's almost like completely antagonistic, but I love it. I love it so much. And then she brings it with the paint, like every single time. Like, and even when she's like feeling kind of down on it, there is magic happening on that model all the time. And that's the stuff that, like, I hope I can do. Like I hope that I can, because I'm always leave her stream inspired. You know, I'm like, fuck, I should be doing this right now. I should be painting this. Like
Yeah.
she used blue in that spot. I want to try blue in that spot.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's stuff that like is absolutely incredible. But like, you know, the competition thing, I think like the moment of when you're sitting with the judge and they're telling you why you got what you got, that's one of like, it's one of the most humbling moments ever, because you're like leaving your like ego at the door to have somebody who has been picked because they understand enough about it, even if like they may not be as good as you. You know, they have put in the time to understand what's good and what isn't, and they can tell you how to improve, whether they only have a couple minutes or they can actually sit down and talk about it for like, you know, 15-20 minutes. That's huge. That's stuff that like mini painters just in general, when you're hanging out with your friends, like they can't handle criticism like a competition like criticism comes in, because they'll be like, what's up with this, what's going on here, why didn't you do this? And that's one of the cooler things that I have experienced since I started realizing that I'm just, not to toot my own horn, but like I am a more dedicated painter than most people in my community, and so I putting myself out there, I needed somebody like a judge to tell me I'm on the right path.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's a whole different skill set.
Yeah.
Judging, just like teaching, is a skill set that just because you're good at a certain trade or craft or art form does not make you a good judge or a good teacher automatically.
Sure.
And for somebody to be able to communicate that to you in a way and explain it in a way that you can absorb and learn from, that's difficult. That's difficult, you know? And that's why most times when you're looking for CNC on your Facebook group or in your Discord group or whatever, it's not that folks don't want to help you.
Right.
It's just a lot. It's a lot to unpack, and they have to kind of like mentally and emotionally absorb and really commit themselves to time and really understanding your piece. Also, you're dealing with a limited media in 2D pictures online that most times don't look that great. The lighting's not exactly right. I can't turn the thing in my hand, right? I can't take my model and just twist it around and really feel it.
Yeah.
And so that's why that's another reason I'm fucking bummed about this COVID shit, is that I can't get my models in front of a judge's physical hands and like, teach me, tell me, I want to get better.
Well, John, you can always send them to me. I'll take a look at them for you.
All right, I'll throw them in the mail. If they suck, just don't send them back.
Oh shit. So I don't know exactly which direction I want to go, because like being who you are in the community now, you went from being, you know, just a person to now you are part of the characters that are now in miniature painting for, you know, the United States, you know, for sure, but I think it rings true worldwide, because you have you know, a world reach with Trapped Under Plastic. I think that podcast, you know, when you guys did Deafening Roar, I was like thrilled. I was like, thank God. Like, I don't want to listen to people talk about the minutia of miniature painting. I want to hear people talk philosophically about miniature painting, and I want to have like people who like, you know, metal and zombies, and, you know, like I want a friend to be doing this conversation. Deafening Roar, like I was there for that. Like I was one of like your 15 subscribers online.
I appreciate it.
I'm so glad that you guys came back with Trapped Under Plastic, because you know, I instantly knew that one, I appreciated the dialogue that the two of you bring, even though Scott has no idea any pop culture references. I have no idea where he's been. Like is Wisconsin really that like isolated that he doesn't know what fucking Goonies is? Like, what is happening here?
Oh man, yeah.
But
You
it's
know
so
what?
funny, man.
At this point, like that was never an intention. This was never anything I knew. But like, I hit a couple in that of references early on in our kind of taping careers that went completely over his head, and that resonated with people. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep doing this.
This
like,
is funny.
This is good because it helps. And here's the weird thing about our kind of friendship is like we've known each other for 2.5 years.
Right.
Like I don't know him. Like I know him well. We spent a lot of time together. We learned a lot about each other. But this is a way for me to kind of like gauge his cool factor, right? Like, you don't know Booty Traps. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm sorry.
Dude, booty Traps. I was like, God damn it! How do you not know that? Like the Pinchers of Hell was a thing that we said all the time as kids. It was just like my parents hated it, and we couldn't stop. It's awesome. But but there's something about that makes Trapped Under Plastic work, and because you do lean into those things, and and Scott's a really good sport about it, and also like I don't think he gives a fuck about not knowing these things.
No.
He is on his own path that someday I hope to get a little bit more insight into what that is as well. But like that, I think that's like the cool thing is that you have two people who are really passionate about this that aren't carbon copies of each other, and while you do not disagree a lot, which like I think is totally fine. Like, when you guys were like saying that there isn't like a conflict here for you guys to resolve. I mean, you could play devil's advocate more, but like, who cares? Like you guys are actually talking about things, and you both have thought about, every topic, unless if you're hungover. That seems to be the only episodes that you're just like, this is a mulligan.
I mean, that was this. Yeah. Then this week, the drunk mini painting video aired, and then you guys got to see
why
what the podcast episode the next morning was. And I'll share a little behind the scenes here because they're getting a lot of heat on the YouTube comments on that video about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of like, you guys don't know how to drink. You only had 3 shots, and you guys are drunk. And so let me just say this right now. First of all, we didn't walk into that without having any alcohol in our system, right?
Right.
Because knowing how alcohol works in the human body, if we take our first shot when we first start painting, by the time we're 30 to 60 minutes in, it's actually going to start hitting us.
Right.
You gotta get ready prior.
Yeah, there was a pregame going on there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Of course. But also, people are like, well, you should have taken 3 times as many shots and blah, blah. I'm like, okay, do you want this to actually be able to be intelligible talking? Like, there's a point where, you know what? It's just going to be slurring of words and just half passed out. It's the actual mini painting and hilarity is not going to happen as well as you think it is in your head. So
no, it never happens. That was always like, bands would get together and be like, we're gonna drink this 12-pack, and then we're gonna sit down and we're gonna start writing music. And by the time that like the 3 of us had a couple beers, we're like, no, we're not doing shit. Like, this isn't happening. We're gonna fucking bust into the whiskey. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna play Tony Hawk Pro Skater for some reason. Like, we still have it. Why not? Like, art doesn't happen like that drunk.
Yeah, and it's a fine line there. But anyway, so why we were so hungover the next morning is because then we'd done shooting, we're having fun, keeping the party going. We didn't go to bed till 3 a.m. We had to get up and start recording at 8.
Oh my God!
It was, I mean, in hindsight, I'm like, we aren't that hungover. And then I watched the episode. I'm like, oh shit,
dude, you guys are still like Scott. I was like, dude, I think Scott's about ready to puke. Like, this is happening. He is feeling it right now.
Yeah.
Like, and he had zero patience. That was like, I was like, oh, he's just a human. That's good. That's nice.
Yeah.
So like this begs the question now, like, you do Trapped Under Plastic. You are competing This is not your day job. You
No.
have a family.
Yep.
Why the fuck are you starting a YouTube channel? Like, why? This is my real hard question for you, because like I have now edited hobby videos and they're the worst.
Yeah.
100% the worst. There's nothing more humbling than watching you fuck up for 4 hours trying to get like 30 seconds of a decent footage. Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
You don't need to do that.
And of those 30 seconds, only 10 of them are actually in focus.
Right.
All right. So the first answer to that question is just complete ignorance. I didn't realize how much it sucks balls to edit these kinds of videos. And I don't have any experience in editing. Like my work background is in communications and marketing, and I've got some college teaching experience as well. I'm fairly confident and excited about two parts of these videos. One is get in front of the camera and having fun, right?
Sure.
I want to do that. And feeling that I can teach or communicate what I'm doing on video reasonably well, okay?
Sure.
Unfortunately, that's two of the three sides of this triangle. And the third one is the technology side of actually creating a finished product. And I have zero experience in that. So I thought I would just ride the wave of those two sides of the triangle, and the third one will work itself out.
Right.
So I have like 4 videos shot and a half of a video edited.
Right.
That's the part that it just sucks. Okay, so that doesn't really answer the why I'm doing it. That's the reason why I've been meaning to do this for going on 6 months, and you don't have anything out there.
You got a great landing page.
Yeah, I got it. You know, and I didn't even do that. A good buddy of mine that I met at Adepticon was the one that's helped me out with that. Like, I have visions, I have ideas, I've got notebooks, I got sketch pads. Here's why I think I feel just drawn to this, in that if I'm lying on my deathbed, hopefully many, many years from now, or maybe a week if I go to a bar because of COVID,
Right.
Why I would regret not doing this. I've made a career, 20-year career of assisting others in becoming better communicators, and doing public speaking and doing teaching, and I love that. I've loved that since I was 15 years old, and I've also loved since as young as I can remember, drawing and making art and making big beefy dudes with big broadswords hacking off heads of monsters, right?
He-Man, man.
Right,
it's all
dude,
about it. Yeah.
I'm all about that, that He-Man life, okay? I mean, I love the Frank Frazetta. Just first time I saw a painting, I was just like, this is the best picture ever made, right?
Yeah.
And that side of fantasy and science fiction and art all coming together, that's why I started painting this stuff, because like, these are all the things that I am nerdy ecstatic about in one little art form.
Sure.
And if I could combine my two major loves and passions in communications and mini painting, I'm stupid not to try it.
Sure.
At least do it, And I mean, that's kind of it with the podcast, but that was mostly just because, honestly, Trapped Under Plastic and before the Deafening Roar happened, because these were conversations that Scott and I were having for hours on end, sitting on his couch eating Doritos, doing other things. Like, so we were having these talks. I'm like, why the hell aren't we recording this, man? And
Sure.
So that happened organically. But this is just like, I got to do it. Or I'm going to hate myself for not trying it. And who knows, I'll do 3 videos and I'll just absolutely want to put a gun in my head because of the editing process, and it'll never happen anymore. But I got to at least say I gave the old college try.
So are you wanting to do more educational things, or is it based it around entertainment? Like what exactly is the ninja on YouTube? Like what do you see that as? Because like there is a million people out there doing, you know, competent hobby videos, and while they don't have like the bandwidth that you do, like you have this amazing cachet that like you could probably put like a shitty lamp in a room and just like sit there and like like not even paint the model. You just like put like paint on it and smear it around and do that for like 7 minutes, no cuts, and you'd probably get close to 1 million hits just because of what you have, and it would be really fucking funny. Like I look at this and you're like, Scott makes his videos look easy. I looked at Miniac's videos as like, well, fuck, if he started doing it and like I've seen his early ones, like I can at least do that. Fuck no, that shit's hard. Like he has an eye. You know, Brent with Goobertown, even his early ones, you're just like, really? Like these people are kind of naturally gifted at understanding flow of the way something's shot. And so when I think about what you're doing, I'm just like, he's like turned on hard mode because he's already next to these like, you know, monoliths, and it's like it has to have the pressure turned way up.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Well, and I have a set, an unrealistic expectation that I can't hit, you know, and I talk to, you know, and I talk to Brent from Goobertown. I talk to Scott, obviously, all the time. I talk to Emil from
Squidmar.
Squidmar, you know.
Dude, Squidmar's videos, god damn him. They make me so mad.
Yeah, you know, and a whole bunch of others, you know. Trent from Miscast Terrain, and I mean all the guys I talk to them, and they make it seem so effortless, but behind the scenes they're pulling their hair out too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I feel like I got to start somewhere, and at first the reason things took me so long was because I had set the bar far beyond I could ever accomplish. And like I watched these tutorial videos and I took these online training courses, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then I also made the conscious choices that I'm going to go with DaVinci Resolve instead of Adobe, because fuck them and paying $500 a year to use their stupid software. I mean, use the free one. If they can make a goddamn Transformers movie on this software, I can make a 7-minute YouTube video. God damn it. But most of these folks are using Adobe, so it's like I can't just be like, hey, how do I do this one thing?
Yeah, what's this, right?
Everything became this whole freaking trickle down of me just putting these barriers. But it's a whole art form in and of itself. And until you like, for most of us, until you actually sit there and look at a 10-minute YouTube video only from the lens of creation, of video direction, of editing, of directing, of script writing, unless you look at it, it just looks simple.
It's magic. It's just magic. That's all it is. Like, I'm consuming it on this little phone, and I'm going to move on, and then I'm going to watch this thing about cats. There's going to be this thing where the guy falls down and hits his dick. Like, YouTube is this weird thing of like the tryhards and the accidentals sitting right next to each other, getting like actual effort isn't always rewarded, and when it is, it gets a following that is unlike any other format. Like I'm waiting for the actual, like, did you grow up watching like PBS as a kid?
Yeah, of course.
Do you remember the Woodwright shop where the guy like walks out of the town and crosses the river and goes into the shop where everything's all like hand tools and stuff like that?
Yeah,
remember that show? That's fucking Brent. I want Brent to have a show like that on PBS. That's all about doing minis and hobby stuff. Like that's what I see for the future of mini painting. Like, we have characters, we have people that you can get behind and that you can trust, and like how do you get to this next step? Because it only exists on YouTube, next to the guy getting hit in the dick, the duck that bites the woman, like whatever it is, it's like totally like caught in the zone of like noise. Like cutting through that's like impossible.
Yeah, and that's tough. I mean, then we're getting into this whole other side of things which is this, you know, entrepreneurial side of it, which is weird to me too, which is I want to keep that at arm's length as far as I can. And I'm just like, there's one thing that that I'm trying to do. And I would encourage everyone that has a goal, whether it's wanting to create their own Twitch stream or YouTube channel or become a personality or whatever, is don't do anything but other than be yourself and do what you do from the beginning. Okay, that can evolve and that can become something greater or different over time. But if you're not you from the get-go, it's gonna fall on its face. And that's just it. And like Jeremy from Black Magic Craft has told me, he's like, people will love you if they love you. And if they don't, it's not gonna work out. And that sucks. Or you maybe got to try something different. But people want somebody that they feel like is their friend, or they feel like they can relate to, or they feel like that they want to be friends with. And so, it's really important. And you're right. It's so hard because we're in this electronic age of media consumption where Double Rainbow gets 40 million views, right? And then you look at a Jazza video where he compares 64 alcohol markers in an NCAA bracket, and he breaks them every single one down. He bought thousands of markers to create this amazing video. I don't even freaking use alcohol markers. I watched that goddamn video.
Right. I've watched his stuff.
The best marker that you can buy and why. And he gets like 2 million views, okay, which is freaking amazing for an
That's
art.
a lot, yeah.
But here's the difference. Jazz has got over 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And Double Rainbow Dude had like 15,000 subscribers. It is a flash in a pan versus consistency and attachment to the brand.
Right.
And so, also Double Rainbow Dude died, rip. So
he died?
Yeah, he died like a week ago.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Although I didn't know him, so I giggled a lot on his behalf. So R.I.P.
That's probably why that thing came to mind as an example of a flash in the pan meme video, right?
Right.
Go out there. What I encourage folks to do is what viral YouTube video do you think of? Go out there, find its original source, and then check the channel. How many subs do they have?
Yeah.
You getting one flash in the pan does not equate success.
No.
They got to attach to you.
Remember Daniel after the dentist, and the first time he's just like, is this real life? And then everybody thought that was cute, and he's like, we're selling t-shirts, Daniel after the dentist. And then he had to go back a month later, and they were like, let's get it again. This is gonna be huge. And this kid is now already a pro at being drugged, and he's like, well, I guess I'm gonna try to lean into it. And it was just the magic was gone instantly. Yeah. Well, so authentic. I think for me, out of all of the hobby people, the one person who I find myself completely enamored with and also extremely confused by is Dana Howell. She releases one video a month, if that, and they are good. It's concise, a lot of info. But she does the last one that she did was an hour long, and I was like, I am never making it through this because this video actually I don't need to watch this, but it is a complete guide to how to start painting minis. And I was like, this is crazy, this is amazing. She could have broke this up into 15 videos basically if she wanted to, and and used it as something to build the channel or whatever. But she doesn't want to do it that way and isn't going to do it that way. And I'm so proud of her for just saying these are the type of videos I'm going to do. You're either in it or you're not. And she's that way on literally every aspect. I'm like, this is amazing. I don't know who you are. I want to get to know you because everybody else is trying to like min-max YouTube.
Right.
And she is just like, fuck that. There's this thing and I'm gonna do this one thing, and I'm just blown away by it because like, yeah, like every video is like once a month and they're hour long. I don't understand it. So
yeah, that's a good one. You know, she's very interesting. I think she's authentic to who she is, and I think that will lead to good things for her.
sure.
You're right. It's like most folks are like, let's hack the Matrix together so we can do this. And she's just like, I just want to eat a steak.
right.
Fuck.
It's awesome. I mean, like, and so, but that's such a hard thing. Like, I am part of, Brent's YouTube Brain Trust, and that is filled. I think we're now up to like 90 members of fellow tryhards that are all trying to crack the code. And like, I've asked for a couple, like, constructive criticism stuff, and like they all tell me like the same shit, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not me. Like, you want me to do a YouTube video, and I'm not doing YouTube videos. I'm like, this is closer to Mark Maron than it is a YouTube video. Like, it has to exist in the kind of a different space, and it has to be delineated from that. But like, they have thought every aspect of YouTube, and it's fascinating because you can literally ask any one of them. And if you want to join and ask people about it, I mean, but you got Scott. He's done it all. He's amazing. Like, so like you've got a wealth already there. But like these guys, they're like 1,000 subscribers, but they are like pros at it already. It's amazing watching them try, and they put out really good content. And you're just like, man, I hope some of you guys break through, because like this is a lot of effort has gone into this group, and you guys are giving all this information away for free. It's incredible. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think anyone's ever lost a fortune by being open with information. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it's one of the benefits of the hobby that we're in. And I learned this so quickly, and it just blew my mind how friendly and how open and how welcoming people are in this hobby. Well, there's just like fellow painters, fellow gamers, fellow people trying to stream or trying to create content or whatever it is. Like, it's so hard to find a D-bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they're there.
They're there. Oh yeah. And the YouTube comments, I'm sure, show you that they're there. And sometimes I just think that people are having a bad day and they just take it out on the like anonymous people online. You're just like,
that's
like,
internet culture, man. That's just how it is. What I like to, try to remind myself of is the more hateful comments you get, the more you've made it.
Right.
Because if your shit really sucks, people probably aren't going to say anything because they feel bad for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a real thing that in music I wish was the case. That it used to be like in the 80s, if you sucked, people threw shit at you. Now they just ignore you and you disappear. Right. And like that is one of the, like, I would rather end up with a black eye and learn that I need to fix this instead of just like being ignored, because that isn't feedback. That is the absence of any sort of feedback. So if YouTube doesn't work for you, if YouTube isn't the thing, do you think that you would give Twitch a try? Like, because I think you would be really good at Twitch as just like a person who is there, even if you're not painting the entire time. I think you have the personality that people would want to interact with and talk with, because you're so fucking reasonable and you've done so many different things. Like I think everybody kind of wants that. And it's, like, it seems to me like Twitch would be where I would expect you to run at.
Oh, well, I wish you would have told me this earlier, Heath. I would have scrapped this whole YouTube thing and gone right there.
I tried. I was trying.
Okay. Yeah, no.
You don't want a text message from me saying, John, don't do this.
No. Turn back now.
Turn back. Before it's too late.
She chose down. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. Like, I like the just do it and just in the moment, and not have to have this edited kind of polished version of you and like trying to do something to make it be something you want it to be.
Right.
That's not how I am. Like, I just like, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. I'm cool with that. Like, I want people to like me, obviously, but I also like, if you don't, I'm not going to lose sleep. Yeah, I think so. I think the reason I really didn't think about Twitch early on is I've been kind of watching Twitch and been an active or passive member in many Twitch streamers communities for the last about 2 years. And I think it's really gone from about 0 to 60 in those 2 years. It was next to non-existent. And then we had the Trailblazers. You know, we had Flickster, we had Genuine, we had Soshi, we had Jason from Monument. We obviously had Kenny Boucher.
Right.
And so folks that were like, they were doing awesome stuff, amazing artists, really good, and, you know, connecting with the audience. And they got 40, 50 people on there. And there's some fucking moron playing Minecraft to 4,500 people, and he's like number 10 on their list. And I'm like, what is this shit? Like, it's just like, it's so frustrating. And it's like, yeah, I mean, things have grown, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many more new opportunities. And actually, the art side of Twitch is really becoming robust. Twitch still bends you over a motherfucking barrel when it comes to actually making a living off it. Okay?
Absolutely.
And so that's a problem, right? Like, I'm not in this to make, you know, quit my day job or whatever. But if I was in a position where that was an option in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, fuck yeah. I mean, all of us, right?
Of course.
If you could quit, you know, if you could do this full time and this would be your thing, most of us would be like, hell yeah. It's like, it's a living a dream, right? And so if I can't see that as a realistic opportunity, I really struggle with that.
Sure.
I think every day that goes by, it gets closer. But you're not seeing anybody that's a mini painter on Twitch that is 100% of their income.
No, I mean, like, but like, YouTube isn't fucking anybody's income either, though. Like, there's Patreon, there is you know, ads from, you know, sponsored things like that. I mean, that's one of the things that, like, is really interesting, that the creative class, and that's really what we are, we're a part of society that isn't valued the way that we should be valued. And so we take the scraps that are given to us, because the only platforms that we can use are things that other people made for other things. So YouTube, Twitch, we don't have upward mobility in the same way. But I can say this: I have been on Twitch now for 3 months. I have become affiliate. I will probably always be affiliate, and have made more money on Twitch than I will ever see from YouTube, just because people are nice, and they just were like, here's $5 for your stream, of which, like, I get 50% of it once I hit $100. So I haven't actually gotten the check yet, but I have done, you know, hundreds of hours of work into doing YouTube videos and stuff during quarantine, and found myself like with 300 subscribers. Like, the podcast version on Spotify does better than the YouTube version does. And I'm like, oh God, I am never going to make it here. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy that I'm putting any effort into YouTube, because the barrier to entry there for someone that doesn't have like that step up on the ladder is like, it's insane. It is an insane hurdle to get through. And I get that they don't want like every dickhead to come out and be like, I can get monetized now. Like, they need to like gate it a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, still, like, you'd think that like consistent content and, you know, the context of what you're working in would be worth being able to be supported by a monolith like YouTube and Google, but they don't. like you're just a cog in their machine, and
Right.
they will make money off of you whether you make any or not.
Right.
So that's like a hostile place to be for me, anyways.
It is. Yeah, and it's always that carrot at the end of the stick. It's like, well, hey, if you just do this, come on.
Come
Well,
on.
meanwhile, for every one person that make it's 10,000 don't, and
Yeah.
their content still lives eternally on YouTube. So look how the content we have is a platform, guys. We got everything you need. Don't worry about the fact that it's slave labor, basically, right? You know,
right, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's opportunity, right? It's opportunity for freedom. It's
Yeah.
a tough one. It's a tough one. Yeah. I mean, the thing with Twitch too is like I can sit down, I got 3 hours, and you know, as you know, you can just paint and hang out. And then I don't have to spend another 13 to 30 hours to edit that shit later.
Right. I mean,
You're
like,
convincing me very, very quickly here. Yeah.
so, I mean, like, I still want to see your videos. I want to see your passion projects. I don't know if like I have been clear enough with this. I like you as a human being, and I like what you have to say, and I want to see your YouTube channel. My heart goes out to you because I literally just tried what you are doing right now, and I was like, no, no, thank you. This is hard. So like, all I want to do is be like, if I could go back and tell me what I'm doing wrong, I would instantly have saved myself all that time and, you know, started it off on Twitch much sooner. But I mean, like, look at Adam from Tabletop Minions. I think he's gonna run into a place where Twitch and or YouTube is going to have a fight over the home of future Tabletop Minions live streams, because as a affiliate on Twitch, you only can live stream in one place. Like if you want money from Twitch, they own your live stream for 24 hours and then it can go to other platforms. And right now he's so new that like, and he's hitting 200, 300 people watching him at any given time. It's like huge numbers for the art crew, and they're just like throwing money at him left and right on Twitch. I'm just like, there is going to be I am very excited to talk to Adam once he has to make the decision to switch from every other Sunday on Twitch and every other Sunday on YouTube, because it's going to happen, and he's going to have to make that culture shift because the money's going to be too good on the other side, because Twitch is going to be like, we're making you partner and we're going to give you a lot more, and partner on Twitch is way better than YouTube ever could be.
Yeah, it's tough that it's it's just it's a baseline, and I'm not an expert on Twitch and how the logistics work.
Sure.
But, you know, it's that baseline of what you got to hit. It doesn't matter if you're streaming the new AAA, PS4 title, or you're, painting miniatures from an obscure game. Like the bar is the bar, and it's like, well, we're talking apples to oranges here, folks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's an interesting world as content creators now, and I think it's more exciting. It feels like, probably back when Miniac started, it was easily the Wild West of miniature painting. Kind of anything went. Now there's rules and everything's set up until somebody else figures out a way to break them.
Right.
And I'm interested to seeing what miniature painting Mark III is, because I think right now we're kind of in the second renaissance, and we're going to see an explosion again, especially once COVID goes away. People are going to want to get back out and go to game stores. I mean, we're already feeling it now. We're already missing that stuff. Yeah. Once we feel comfortable to actually have our group again, it's going to be insane. It's going to be absolutely insane what all of our streams will be like, what all commission painters will be. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, the more the hobby grows, the more the craziness of this Warhammer 40K and Age of Sigmar and Dungeons and Dragons and Kingdom Death and Gloomhaven, whatever it is, the more that those grow, the better we're at. If from a hobby focused side of things, that all resonates with us. We're kind of one tier out, from the sphere there, but it's a really good spot to be in. So yeah,
it feels pretty close. I don't know, like I'm my wife is tired of hearing about all of this. She's at that point where she's like, it just always seems like they're releasing something new. And I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of what makes this thing go.
Right.
Like if they aren't releasing something new, we're all going to get like kind of bored with it.
Right.
And these new models are making new people be inspired, and new game systems are getting people like Marvel, Crisis Protocol. Like, I'm surprised at how many people play that game because like and gamers who never would have done a miniature game, but because it's Marvel, they're here, and that's incredible.
Yeah, and now you got all these new folks that are just hitting the market for the first time. Yeah.
How far away do you think you actually are of getting your first YouTube video out? Like, where do you think you are in that process?
Well, with work, we had to do what my team had to do. It's called the flex furlough, and what that means is over the course of 4 months, or excuse me, 3 months, each person on my team had to take 6 weeks off unpaid.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording this on a Sunday. Starting tomorrow and a Monday, I have 2 weeks straight off. The video is recorded. My goal is by end of the week to have it published.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's my goal. And the more I say that, the more I tell people that, the more I vocalize that, the more I'm holding myself to really push that timeline. So that's it. Vocalize your goals, and you'll hold yourself more accountable. So we'll see if there's one out or not. But that's my goal. Yeah.
Do you think at that point you'll probably do like a monthly release thing, or treat it kind of like how Brent does, where it's just whenever I'm done, I'm going to put it out? Like, what do you see the future of that being for you?
I think a weekly release is asking a lot at this point, just because of the hour sync for editing, because I'm just not competent yet. But I've already learned a buttload in what I've done so far. My first video, I taped literally the entire process. I recorded every second of me painting, because not knowing any of this shit, I'm like, right, I'm painting a mini. Why wouldn't I just record it all, and then I'll pick the good stuff? And I told this to Vincey V, and he's like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude. He's like, you don't do that. And I'm like, fuck, you don't? He's like, no, you are strategizing of what key parts you want to tape. And so then you tape 30 minutes worth of shit. I had 4.5 hours. So I'm like, God damn, this takes forever to edit. Well, yes, because I'm editing 4.5 hours of footage of just me painting. It's like, God damn it. So I'm learning. Okay, so I want to go with always working on something, get it out when it's done. So, does that end up being every other week? Maybe. I think you want to get in the hamster wheel of YouTube. You really got to shoot for once a week.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm not doing that right now. I have video ideas. I have a notebook of video ideas that I've been writing in for 2 years. And I probably have 50 video ideas of things that I'm really excited about. And I'm just going to do with what excites me and what I've got great ideas for, what crazy, silly shit that I want to do that doesn't currently exist in our hobby. And I think either will be great or will crash and burn. And I would love for folks to watch the crash as well. So we'll see.
Sometimes a disaster's beautiful, man.
Right.
We're there. So do you think you're going to do, like, you still play D&D, correct?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think you're going to do anything kind of more, instead of like miniature painting adjacent, like more role playing, like turning into more of like sketches or something of that nature with your channel?
Yeah, my vision at this point is to toe the line between sketch comedy and miniature painting. Like,
okay.
And that's, what I'm doing is I'm making even more work for myself. So a lot of my ideas are revolved around that of I want it to be educational. But what I've learned in my years of teaching was if people aren't, at least in some regard, entertained and really involved with what you're saying, doesn't matter because they're not going to absorb any of it. So
Right.
I'm just going with that. I've got ideas around D&D. I think when we're talking again about the potential of the video opportunities, that D&D is still something that we get folks that like to paint their minis for that game in our hobby, but that's such a giant section that is not yet fully tapped.
Yeah.
That folks can really adhere to, because there's a lot of keep it at arm's distance from the Warhammer crowd with those folks too, for a lot of them. And they're like, this just isn't exactly me. And it feels like a very alien kind of environment.
Yeah.
So, we'll see where that goes. I got a lot of cool D&D video ideas too. So we'll see. Yeah, probably.
Eventually, one of these days. There's just, for some reason, like when you said sketch comedy, I'm like, the only way John's gonna do sketch comedy is if it's like in the vein of Kids in the Hall. Like it's got to be like almost surreal, like sketch comedy built into it. And if that's the case, okay, sign me up. I'm there for that one.
Yeah, because I mean that's funny. I always think that, and like my mom always tells me, she's like, I'm glad you never did it, but I really think you probably could have made a go at being a stand-up comic, because you write and you like to perform and all that. And I'm like, well, thanks, Mom, for telling me not to follow my dreams. I mean, so there's that too. Like that really excites me, of just like doing something stupid. I have stupid ideas all day long, and so it's kind of therapy for me too, to try to get it out instead of just to my wife, because she's sick of it.
Dude, I feel so bad for her significant others. Like, we love them. We're so happy that they support us, but Jesus Christ, like, you think we would learn to just like give them a break, and we just can't. We just can't.
No. Yeah, their patience and willingness and support is insane. And I think I've said this before at some point, but it can be said so many times. Randomly thank your significant other for putting up with your shit, for being a nerd in this hobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank them. They didn't have to, right? No. But they did.
They did, and they still do, which is touching and sweet, and well, sometimes comes with extra baggage that, like, some people don't know how to delineate, like, the emotional, like, I don't even know what the term that you want to use, but like it's hard, it's a hard balance, and if they're not in it, they're putting up with a lot more than you're putting up with, for sure.
Right. Yeah, they really are. Yeah. So go out of your way, try to do extra things around the house for the family, with the kids. I'm getting my daughter, I've been getting my daughter over the course of the last year into mini painting. She just turned 8, but that's nice. Something that we can do together, and that it kind of like, see, I can justify to my wife, see, it's good that I do this because I get to spend time with her, and she's learning art and fine motor skills, and I don't have her paint KDM models, that's for damn sure, but
so this is what we call thick with multiple C's.
Yeah. Right.
That's awesome.
Why is this giant monster, holding its own giant private parts? Well,
anatomically speaking,
they don't all look like that.
No. Oh, Jesus. Well, dude, we have gone a little over our hour, and I certainly appreciate all of your time and actually sitting down with me. I know that it's always hard to balance the hobby, YouTube, life, Trapped Under Plastic forums. Like you are in it a lot, and you are really active, and it means a lot for you to sit down and talk with me. Like it's really cool, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate, because I really I appreciate all this that you're doing, and your catalog already of these amazing guests is pretty astounding. So, folks, that if you catch this one and haven't seen the rest of the Murder Basement, you need to go check it out. There's amazing people, and like I said, these are real conversations, and that interests me, because you get to see how people tick and how they work, and you're like, you know what, I can do it. Whatever it is that you want to do in this hobby, you're not alone. And also, we're in these COVID times, so hell, anytime I can chat with anybody about the hobby, I'm in it. So,
dude, it's like, it's so hard right now. Like I had this whole thing, like I was like, I wanted to talk to him about Chimera paints, but like just because I had a shitty day of painting with Chimera paints today, it doesn't, like, I don't want to sit there and be like, man, fuck Chimera paints, because like I can't figure out how to use them. Like those are things that I'm going to have to spend more time in before bringing up, before starting a flame war.
I want to talk about these.
You got some oil paints going on there?
Yeah, dude. This is it. This is the revolution. This is the renaissance in mini painting. I'm telling you right now.
Are you following the book of Wapple right now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got a chapter, but there's that book is, that's big, and I think these oil paints are gonna blow a lot of people's minds, and even just painting for gaming, man. If you can get over the fact that you just don't clean your brushes with water, you clean them with mineral spirits, like, yeah, don't do that. I've done that, and I put my brush in my mouth with oil paints.
Oh no!
A couple of times. Most of the times it just tastes a little bit like the mineral spirits. Just kind of taste like vodka, so it's fine. But
but I'm blind the next day.
Well, yeah, if I go crazy and cut my ear off, like, you'd be like, hey, John, probably should stop that. But there's not real mercury in these anymore, I don't think. I guess I don't know. Maybe there is.
No, they have to make them not containing any real like heavy metals. Like, even though like they will have metal in them, like some of them you can put magnets on and they'll stick to it. Even acrylic paint does that though. Like, I guess Dark Sea Blue from P3, I think. Like, you can put a magnet on the side of the bottle and it'll stick to it.
Whoa!
Yeah. Shoshi did it one night, and then I watched MinMax do it one day, and I was just like, holy shit. Like, and I'm sitting here eating paint just because, like, what am I doing?
Dude, that's a real mini paint storage solution. You don't need these racks. All you need is a couple of those magnetic bars and just stick them on like fridge magnets. Done. All my paints.
So what do you like? What oil paints to me? Like, I'm a picture framer. I have been taught the traditional ways of conserving oil paintings, and oil painting and acrylics don't mix, but yet we see a lot of people doing it, and it makes me really nervous and or like excited to see if many painters have figured out a way to isolate the oil paint or isolate the acrylic in a way that you don't have the chemical reaction where the oils continue to seep into the acrylic and cause it to peel off and bubble up. Like, that's because I've seen it on paintings like a ton of times. It's awful. Like, you see, the artist had a vision and they did a thing, but because they didn't understand the materials that they were using, the longevity of the pieces tend to deteriorate. And we're too early into the lifespan of this. Like, fucking 50 years from now, all of my Gorm might be like, his whole back skin might be peeling off because I did it wrong. Like, that's the stuff that scares me about it. Like, I don't want to mix mediums, but yet I find myself being very seduced by oil painting.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this: that oil over acrylic is fine. Acrylic over oil is where it gets creepy. Yeah, because it's obviously the oils are hydrophobic, and they want them to separate, and over time it can break down those water-based molecules. The couple of things that I think were okay. Number one, whenever I'm done with my oil layers, I am going to go and varnish it. So you got that basically a clear coat that's keeping them separate.
Yeah.
And then two, we're working in such thin layers too. When you think about, kind of traditional oil painting, I mean, that's some thick stuff, and they create texture by actual thickness of paint that is the texture on the paintings. So that oil and that linseed oil can be live for years and years.
Yeah, the impasto it's incredible how long that stays goopy. Even with accelerators and things, they are continuously curing for years. Like even when it feels like they're done, they're not done.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. And here's the thing right now for me with oils is that it excites me. And I painted that Kingdom Death White Lion.
Dude, yeah, that turned out great, man.
Yeah,
that turned out really cool.
That was 2 nights in about 2.5 hours.
Really?
It's what it takes to get smooth blends and really like really vibrant, stark contrast and really impressionable things on a small thing is so much faster. And I'm just like, I ain't got the patience to do this for 100 hours, even though I'll do it when it's like a competition piece and I want to do my best. But damn, if I can do this in a couple hours, I'm setting myself up for then going with acrylics over the top to really push it. So I'm just curious with this. And I just encourage folks that if there's something that excites you, whether it's using a paint range, whether it's painting the certain new models or army or whatever, just ride the wave. Don't fight things because you feel the pressure to accomplish a certain other thing. As long as you're painting or you're active in this hobby, like everything's gravy. It's going to all turn out in the end, just let it happen.
So do you actually think that one of my problems with mini painting competitions is like there is a huge push to being everything smooth, everything blended to the nth degree. And while yes, those are all technical, like half the time I don't feel like it's a real artistic vision, because it feels like you're playing to the competition. And like I personally get kind of bored with that. And then I see something like fucking Sam Lins did the dragon guy from Creature Caster, the guy with a big axe. And I was just like, oh, well, that's how you do non-metallic metal. That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd that he put that much effort into it. But like, I see things like, do you follow Bloody Bathory on Instagram? She does like all the busts and she does them all with like cross hatches and stuff.
Oh, I don't. I'm gonna have to do that now.
She's fucking amazing, absolutely amazing. And like I sit and look at her models, and they're all like Universal Studio monster busts. First off, like the horror nerd in me loves them, but like her style is so cool and it's so artistic and so hers, and like it feels like an EC comic come to life. And that's the shit that I want to see. I want to see more shit like that rise to the top because, this is what she does specifically.
Yeah, there's, I'm going to find her now. There's a lot of Bloody Bathories on Instagram. Jesus. Okay. Yeah. Most of them are moderately nudie pics.
Nudies.
That's not the right one. But yeah, there are some amazing painters out there.
Blood Bathory. I will send it to you right now.
Okay. Kaha is another great example of that.
Dude, Kaha, yeah.
She is absolutely amazing, and the play of freehand light and reflection, and everything kind of looks like it's underwater almost because of the reflection of light from above. That's a great example too of that. Just painting for realism is kind of somewhere on the timeline of an art form, right? Mm-hmm. An art form first is birthed, then it has to make itself justifiable, and that's really where we're at, and making it something look as realistic as possible is for the average viewer what constitutes as justifiable or impressive.
Right.
Once you get to that level, then it's what makes it different? What makes it stand out? You know, and I mean, we're naturally have something in this art form in that its size and scale is so small that you can say, and justifiably so, that's what differentiates this art form from others, is the scale.
Sure.
But at a certain point, you cannot only rest on that. If you really want to get to the point where we're having art showings, where it's just miniature sculpture, it has to evoke some different emotion that the artist saw, that isn't just trying to paint the sculpture to look like a real person at a small scale.
Right.
Where that's happening now. It's starting to happen. And I would even say as many as, maybe I just wasn't exposed to these folks as much when I first started, but when I first started, 3 years ago, I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, Roman Lapat wasn't a name that you would, like stumble over, and now, like, he's one of those people that like pushes the miniature art form in a way that like I actually call it an art form, because like me, I think I work with a bachelor's in arts degree and a master's in studio sculpture. They look at miniature painting as tracing, like it's glorified tracing, of which like I've taken that bias to heart, because like it means that if I want to actually do something that impresses them, I have to push the medium further. And like I did like this demon right here from 3D Art Digital. I fucking dry brushed this on Twitch one day. It took me 20 seconds. Like I literally did it, and it's awesome looking, and it looks as good in person as it does, on a TV screen. And I showed it to my business partner, and he's like, "That is fucking awesome!" Like your use of light. He's like, it reminds me of like how John Carpenter lights his movies from like The Thing and stuff like that. He's like, "That's really cool. Like you did this." And I was like, it literally took me less than a half hour to do it. And I was like, "What do you think of this one?" And I did another bust, and he's like, "It's really flat looking." I'm like, "Fuck!" And I put like 40 hours into the piece, and so like that's one of the things that I am struggling with as I'm trying to branch out into like different things. What is going to push this art form to the next level? And I don't quite know the answer to it. But when I see things like, Blood Bathory, that was the name. I sent it to you. It's in the Instagram, so you can hit your messages there. When I see her painting and it's like different than anybody else's, I'm like, okay, that's that. When I see Eni do it and she is bold and brave with the colors, I'm like, okay, here we are. Like we're starting to do things. When I see James Waffle do it, and he's taking these things, this realism to a whole kind of another level with oil paints, I'm on board for these movements, but I'm also wondering where I'm going to fit into that next step.
Yeah, it's a hard one, and one that I try not to worry about too much.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay. I think we've got a podcast going out tomorrow.
Sounds right.
Yeah, that is on this that touches on this topic, on painting styles and kind of a discovery in what is our painting style? Do we have a painting style? Should I have a painting style? How do I make a painting style? Like that's a legit question, but it's one that we often don't know how to even tackle. I think I just find that it's like, look, if I'm just going with what I'm doing, wherever the road takes me, if I lean into it, I'll get to a style maybe eventually. Sure.
I like that. I think that's a pretty brave choice, to just follow the muse wherever it takes you. And I mean, like, what's his name? Pablo Picasso. He had to master 50 different art forms before he figured out how to paint like a kid. Like it took him like learning so many different things before he learned how to unlearn all of that.
Right.
And that's what we know him for, is weird cubism shit. And like he was a very accomplished painter that had not a dime to his name before that, and then he finally figured out how to get there, and now he's household name. Jackson Pollock, it took him all that time to figure out how to spray paint on a canvas, like that. Like these are all things that like once you're there, you'll know you've made it once you've made it, but the journey is often completely clouded.
Yeah, and especially when you look at, I mean, Picasso is a great example that I think they estimated he created 50,000 works of art in his life.
Right.
And if that tells us anything, if you're going to get to the point of your own vision of what you want to create, you need to first spend a lot of time and in learning the fundamentals and learning the techniques and learning how it's done kind of as a standard. And from there, it will come to you.
Right.
But
right.
Don't worry about going to step 5 right away. Just and there's a lot of us that are just going to be like, I'm really happy to make this coolest looking dragon that I can paint, and I'm cool with that. And,
sure.
And there is nothing wrong with that either.
No, I really envy those people. I have a couple friends that are like that, who are very talented painters, and they are like totally happy with like their plateau. And I'm like, I lose sleep over like my plateau. I get frustrated with myself. I'm like, why can't I? What am I missing? What is the missing link here? And it sucks because like convention season was going to be classes. That was the thing that I was actually really excited to sit down with these people at Adepticon and learn. And it's just like sitting back like, I guess I'm back at the old YouTube well again.
Yeah, it'll return, knock on wood, it'll return, and we'll all be ready and support those teachers. In the meantime, just do what you can do, I guess, right?
Right. Well, I think I should probably let you get back to your family and your night. I am really hungry. I have not done dinner yet, and it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, better do that.
I'm such an idiot. John, thank you so much for taking the time and talking with me. And I look forward to seeing your YouTube videos. I look forward to seeing new pieces of artwork that you put out. Look forward to seeing more oil paints and just more of you. Like, I think that you're a great voice for the hobby, and you make it a more peaceful place because you've brought something to it that I think was missing, and there's a bit of humanity in you that I think you give to everybody, and I appreciate that. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm always happy to be here. Next time you want to chat again, whether we record it or not, we'll do it.
Do it. All right, sounds good, man. Have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, you too.
All right, see ya.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Hobby Time in the Murder Basement. I so appreciate your support. If you want to see more hobby content, hop on over to twitch.tv/Heath Aldrich to see all of your fun hobby content streaming whenever I get a free chance. If you like listening to these episodes in more of a podcast form, I should be on all of your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure that you like and subscribe to me there. If you can, leave me a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate it. Have a nice rest of your day, and we'll be talking to you soon.